Now, we know that Chief Sharp at the beginning of this year announced, or even maybe a little before that he was going to retire in 2020, at the beginning of 2020. And what's happened is he has suggested a couple of people, 2-3 people that could replace him, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding. There's a couple people who are in our police department. Mm-hmm.
Now, you and 3 other folks of the new people that came in voted to do a $25,000 national search and do a full-blown process to hire the next police chief of Oro Valley. And there's a very small minority of people in Oro Valley grumbling that why don't you just take Chief Sharp's recommendations? What are the reasons for doing the national search?
Well, first of all, I do want to clarify that any internal candidates that we have in our police department are still eligible as part of this search. They're definitely eligible to apply. It's just kind of broadening the field and opening it up. When we look at the history of Oro Valley, we've had our last 2 police chiefs who've served for the last almost 40 years, I think, have both been external candidates to Oro Valley. We have a history of great public safety. Chief Sharp himself was an external candidate.
City of Tucson.
He came from the city of Tucson to Oro Valley. And so I think the feeling was that we wanted the process to be fair and to be open, and we wanted to make sure that we were doing our due diligence for the citizens of Oro Valley and getting the very best person possible for the job. And at this point, I don't know who's applied for that position. So I don't know what the results will be is the honest truth. But I feel like by opening it up and by taking a look at everyone, we're going to be able to look the citizens of Oro Valley in the eye, so to speak, figuratively, and say the person that was selected was the very best person for the job. And you can feel confident moving forward that we selected the best police chief possible for our town.
Oh, sorry. Okay. There you go. So the other thing, too, is that we don't know how many other internal candidates there's also going to be, or people interested in the job, right? So I was just talking to someone who's a very established law enforcement human in Arizona talking about this situation in Oro Valley, and he said the other thing he mentioned to me was you might have internal candidates that also would like the job that maybe aren't Danny's 2 choices, right? Who, if you don't do the process and you just baptize one of 2 of his picks, right, you're disrespecting officers in the department already who still have to work there after the decision's made. So he was in full-hearted support of what you guys were doing. So that just makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that what we're doing is trying to open the field to anyone who wants to apply for the job to try and pick the very best candidate for the job. And it's also a process where we've hired an external consultant, and in the procurement process of choosing that consultant, actually Chief Sharp was one of the people who was on that procurement committee.
Right.
And there wasn't any dissent about who the consultant should be.
Right.
So in terms of picking the consultant, there was consensus there. And so this consultant can help us by, being a professional and really looking through all these resumes. They have technical teams, they have police chiefs on their staff and former police chiefs who can really look at the technical qualifications of people and make sure that, their abilities are in line, their technical skills, and they'll help us to go through that process. And they've helped, make surveys to the public and to the police department, get comments, advice for the new police chief, advice for the decision makers, which is the town council is the decision makers on this issue.
Sure.
And so I think that that's also really valuable for us because, pretty much as the town council, we're a group of 7, and for 7 people to be a decision maker, I think it's helpful to have this external third-party liaison, so to speak, to help us work through that process.
And none of you have ever hired a police chief in your day. So
I haven't.
Right?
Yeah.
So going through the process of what you want to do, it makes sense for, again, Oro Valley citizens deserve the best.
Yes, that's
it.
Yes, they do. And that could be an internal candidate. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's my job to do my due diligence and to make sure that I'm getting the very best for our citizens. And so, at the end of the day, it could be that we say, yes, the internal candidate was the best. And now we can look everyone in the eye and say, and we can guarantee and know that they are the best because they've gone through this competitive process.